If you want a smart lock but don't want everyone to know, then a retrofitted smart lock is the way to go. That's where the SwitchBot Lock Pro can help. I'm Wanderer001. Let's get into it. As you can see, while the initial lock on the exterior of my home looks perfectly normal and can operate via a key, the interior we have retrofitted with the SwitchBot Smart Lock. The locking mechanism itself is 4.7 inches by 2.3 with a depth of 3.3. So this is a little chunky in that it sits out from the door itself a little more than you would have with a doorknob or the locking mechanism that was here before. The lock itself is made up of two parts primarily. First is the lock box itself, and then the plate which is on the rear and affixed to the door. We're going to talk about the lock box itself first, since we can't get to the plate right now. The smart lock itself is made of plastic and metal. It is a matte black finish all around. There is a little LED indicator right there, and if I tap that, you'll see it flash like that. Down here, this is the dial mechanism, so you can manually lock this simply by turning the lock, and I forced it to go a little further than I have it set normally. But there's also a push button in the middle for quick unlock, which right there, you can tap it once and it will open up or lock itself. The front has a magnetized cover which hides your included 4 AA batteries. The batteries that are included with this are enough to power the lock for 9 months, considering a standard 3-person household opening the door 3 times each. And if you are concerned about what happens when the batteries are low, you will get a notification in your app letting you know that there is 20% of battery life remaining. And in those emergency situations, SwitchBot's got you covered with an emergency unlock feature. Lets you get into your home with a passive power supply to unlock the door. It is a last resort and should not be relied upon, but it's there and a great feature if you didn't know about it. I want to come back down to the dial. The dial is textured around the rim here, so it does make for easier gripping. But if you do have problems with grasping things, you could, as I demonstrated before, tap it to unlock and lock. So it was in the unlock position, and we'll move to the lock position. In order to see the back plate and all that it has, we'll have to take a look back at the past before I put this on the door. So let's take a look. Taking a closer look at the SwitchBot Lock Pro. Yes, this is before I actually have it on the door. It is a larger device, so it's going to stick out quite a bit. The dial itself is nicely tactile, no clicking noises, anything like that. On the front here, and this is primarily where I want to show you this before I actually put it on the door. This door here is actually just magnet that sticks in place. So there's nothing that you have to worry about pressing or fiddling with. There's 2 little clips on the end there that just slide into place, and then the magnets here keep it there. The battery pack itself, it does come with 4 AA batteries. These little door hinges here, you simply press the battery pack in a little bit and you shift them, and right here, your battery holder comes out. They do sell a rechargeable battery that has left and right sides. Kind of wanted to show you what that looked like before actual setup. So there are some springs, so you would press that in gently once you're ready, and then you slide your lock mechanisms into place. And then we will close that. Come around to the side, you have your screws on either side. Coming along to the backplate itself, there is a nice rubber bit right here. So the part that's actually touching the door has some padding, shouldn't scratch it. Plastic bit up here doesn't actually come in contact with your door. Those screws that I mentioned before over here that were for contact kind of slip into place right there to lock it to the back plate. Inside here, where you're actually mounting this to your door, I like these. These are adjustable. They move around. So in case you need to move them around for the screw set in your door or to level things off with your plate, you can do that. And then right here, this is one of 3 mounting cylinders right here that you would use to lock into your door. These are plastic. They're a heavier plastic, but just know it's not a metal material. It's a plastic material, but does grip into place rather nicely. And I just wanted to give you a quick look at these before I actually set them up and attach them to my door. The other part of your lock mechanism is this right over here. This is your magnet that allows the door to know when it's open or shut. In case you were wondering how that actually happened, it's not using an accelerometer, it's using a magnet to let you know. That magnet is just one of the things that you get in the box with SwitchBot Lock Pro. So let's take a look at everything else that we get. We have the lock itself. We have the different cores, the mounting plate, magnet setup, provides you with a screwdriver, which is nice, tape to help keep things in place, screws, quick start guide, Allen wrench or a hex key with small screws which go on the side here, here, and here. There you saw, there was a lot that you get with the SwitchBot Lock Pro, but how easy it is to set something up determines if it gets actually installed and used, or if you have to go through something like this to install it, chances are you're not going to actually do it. What I want to tell you right up front, the SwitchBot Lock Pro is rather simple to install and fairly fast to do if you're not trying to film a YouTube video. Let me show you what that was like. Installation of SwitchBot Lock Pro. Step 1 is to utilize the tape to go to the other side of your door and tape it down. Help keep things in place. You can do the same thing with blue painter's tape, but it's nice that they provide it. Next step is to remove the interior of your lock. So you're gonna have 2 screws that you gotta take off. Interior is being kept in place by that tape, and I have removed the locking mechanism. Next step is to install the mounting plate or mounting bracket. To do this, you're going to have to use one of the sets of screws that came with the SwitchBot. You're gonna take your existing screw and line them up to see which one is closer. So for me, the fat one is more aligned with this one, slightly shorter, but the skinny one here is slightly longer. So we're gonna go with the fat one first and see how that goes. And we'll do this around the camera, hopefully. That one goes there, that one goes there. This is why you have the tape in place, so that while you're pushing on this, you don't have to be holding the door open. And then, for good measure, kind of get yourself a level, make sure that everything looks okay before tightening it down. Okay, that's now tight in place. Be sure not to over tighten as I was doing, because I was actually pinching the sides there in. So if you see it start to bow, stop, loosen up a little bit. Once everything is tightened down, you're gonna take your 3, which aren't focusing right now, lugs we'll call them. And what they do is, if we bring our camera in a little closer here, each of these has a unique shape. One matches that. So you're gonna find the one that matches your door. So in my case, it's actually number 1 here, because it has the slit. So I would put that over the bit in my door and then back this out. Next step is to line everything up and actually get your lock in place. I will admit I spent a little more time on this than I wanted to and didn't film it. I found if you line things up at the bottom here and then slip the top up, then you'll be okay. And from here you can check, make sure you can see right there that the lock is in place. Once positioned and in place, you're going to use these itty bitty screws and the Allen wrench to lock it in. You have 2 on either side, and thankfully they give you a lot of extras because you may lose some. After you get your screws in place on both sides, before that you make sure that this actually turns. But once you're done with that, you can peel off the tape because you don't need it. Next step is placing the magnet, but mine's a little far, so we're going to see if this works. You're going to make sure that you do the side that has the line on it, and you're going to want to face it like, which seems kind of far. But we'll find out. That would complete the installation of the SwitchBot Lock Pro. Next, we move on to setup of the Lock Pro. Open up your SwitchBot app, select the plus sign, add a device, come down to Locks, Lock Pro. The app wants us to remove this right here. So we take the front plate off, pull this, we heard a beep, it's blinking now, and according to this, the app, once we start seeing the blue, like it's doing, we click continue. And now, it's gonna try and pair itself. And it paired, but there's a firmware, so we're gonna update the firmware and let that do its thing. You can see it's blinking in the background. Set upgrade successful, and it's blinking now. We're gonna hit finish. Wants us to give it a name. We're gonna be super fancy and call it SwitchBot Lock Pro. And it wants me to pick a room. I have meters set up for environmental in the basement and upstairs, so I don't have one for my main floor. So I'm gonna make a new room. And we're going to call it living room and select next. And it has been added. Now I can just use this over Bluetooth, or I can enable cloud services if you have a SwitchBot hub, which I do. It has now been added to my Alexa, and it's letting me know the SwitchBot door has been locked. And if you hadn't installed this already, you can walk through the installation guide right here. In my case, I've already done this, so I'm going to say it's already installed. So now it's telling me to make sure that the door is in the lock position, which it is. I'm going to select next. Now I'm going to move it to the unlock position as requested, and then select next. All right, so this is trying to get the sensor to work, I think. But if you're not sure, they've got a video. You tap it and you can see it. So it wants you to open the door, lock it, and then hit next. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to open the door, lock it, and then hit next. So it wants me to have it ajar, locked. We're going to test the unlock feature. It unlocked. Now we're going to test the lock feature. And that's the lock. Now we're going to say finished. You can set up home sharing, but I'm going to select no. I'm not going to do this. And that was setup of the SwitchBot Lock Pro. As you saw as part of setup, I was fiddling with the magnet to make sure that it was close enough. And I can say even with this space here, it functions perfectly fine. Now that the lock is in place, let's talk about connection types. The lock communicates over Bluetooth LE within 120 meters without obstacles. It can be controlled through the SwitchBot app or the extra accessory of the keypad touch. Using that peripheral can only communicate 20 meters with the door shut. If you have a SwitchBot hub, linked to the review of the one that I did in the corner there, you can utilize the functionality of this over Wi-Fi and unlock your door when you're not home. Using the SwitchBot hub, the Lock Pro also becomes compatible with Google Home, Alexa, and Apple HomeKit. There are also 15 different ways that you can unlock this lock. However, for some of those, you will have to use the keypad accessory. You could see a full review of that over there in the corner. What you can do just from the lock itself is the quick access, the turn, the voice command, and a key on the other side of the door. But for the other part of those 15 ways to unlock, those are accessible through the application. So let's take a look at the app. This is the application for the SwitchBot Lock Pro. Right here from the home screen, we can see we get a little icon. If I select the circle, I can unlock the SwitchBot lock without having to go into it. It also shows, hey, now this is open, green icon with a little opening gesture, and this is orange. If I select it again, it will send the command to lock the lock, and I'll get a little buzz notification up at the top letting me know that things are locked. But we can also do that from within the device itself. We got a big lock icon right there at the top. Here we have a keypad. If you paired your keypad, simply select that and it will bring you over into your keypad options. If you have a remote, you would be able to select the information for the remote right there. Next, you have emergency unlock. Selecting this gives you a little description of what's going to happen. Pressing it once will have the lock continuously rotate clockwise to try and lock or unlock your door. Selecting again will have it continuously rotate counterclockwise. This is if things get stuck. If your lock still cannot unlock, please contact customer support, and then right down there, how to contact them. Next, you have the logs for the lock itself. And here you can see I've been playing quite a bit with it. Locked via the app, unlocked via the app, touchpad, passcode, manual, NFC, keypad. I used a fingerprint at one time, manually done. So this is going to let you know who has been accessing your home and how. That's a great feature, and the fact that they roll in the information from the touchpad as well is invaluable. Coming up to the top, you can see the status of the door, whether you're connected to the cloud or Bluetooth, and then the battery life for the lock itself. I do have this attached to the SwitchBot hub, which is why you see that cloud icon. But that's the settings for the lock. As you might imagine, a retrofitted lock, there's not going to be a lot that you can do because that's what you want. You want simplicity. But there are a few settings that we can manipulate, and we would do that by selecting the sprocket icon in the upper right-hand corner. Starting off, we have the name of our device. Selecting this will allow us to change the name, change the home location, and then change the room location within that home. Coming down, we have our basic settings. Do you want the indicator light to be on? Yes or no? So when it locks itself and unlocks itself. Do you want it to have sound? Yes or no? Remote, unlock, reconfirm. In that, when your device is disconnected from Bluetooth and you tap the unlock, a pop-up window will happen asking you to reconfirm your unlock action so that you don't get accidental unlock. Quick key, well, we've got enable quick key and then button function settings. So that's going to be that button press. So press to lock or unlock. You can have it lock only. You can have it unlock only. Trigger actions, single press or double press. Do I have to press once or do I tap tap? So there is a bit of customization there. Here we have alarm. You've got door ajar and then how long it has to be ajar before you receive this message, or left unlock. And notice that it's saying you have to make sure that you have notifications set up, which might be a little hard to read, but that's how it's going to notify you of the alarm. Auto lock, I have this off, but if we toggle this on, you'll have to test it out. This is kind of where things got me, was I was not paying attention, and the auto lock timing being 1 second would mean I opened the door and it was instantly trying to lock itself. It cannot do this if the battery is lower than 20%. You can adjust that time. You also have relock and then relock timing, meaning if I close the door and don't lock it myself, how long before it locks itself automatically, which is great. Pause auto lock. After enabling, you can disable auto lock temporarily, effective only for the next time, by pressing quick on the keypad twice. If you don't want to lock yourself out of your home, that would be the setting that you do, and then tap tap when you open it. Recalibrate, well, if for whatever reason your door isn't locking like you think it should be, you would simply select next, and it will walk you through the setup that you did originally when you were installing the lock. Cloud services, in my case, I have it on, and you can see cloud service where it's actually going to, in my case, a SwitchBot Hub, and it can be connected to Google Assistant, Alexa, and IFTTT. Utilizing NFC, if I select this, I can use my phone or an NFC tag to unlock the SwitchBot lock. Here you have your FAQ, so if there's anything that you couldn't find in this video, SwitchBot is very good about providing information for you. Here we have our battery life and firmware. Selecting this will show me, hey, here's your battery level and here's your firmware. If there's an update to your firmware, that's where you can go to get it. And then device info, sensitive information in there, not going to show you that. And then delete this device if you want to remove the lock from your SwitchBot app. And that has been everything that we can do for the SwitchBot Lock Pro in the SwitchBot app. What I want you to be aware of is some of those controls that you see on screen now are only accessible when accessing this over Bluetooth. If you try and use the SwitchBot Hub and do some actions remotely, you will not have access to them. But mostly it's the control mechanisms, not the unlock and lock. Next thing, as I've been sitting here talking and pointing at the lock, you want to see things. You want to see it unlock through some of those different methods that I was telling you about, as well as know how loud the locking mechanism actually is, because me sitting here and touching this doesn't really do anything because I have a lapel mic on. So let me show you some tests that I ran for the SwitchBot Lock Pro. Audio unlock tests. Unlocking via app. Unlocking via code. Unlocking via NFC. Unlocking via fingerprint. Standard operation opening. Opening lock via Alexa. Alexa, unlock SwitchBot Lock Pro.
What's your voice code for SwitchBot Lock Pro?
1, 2, 3, 4.
The SwitchBot Lock Pro is unlocked. Unlocking. Hang on.
Lock SwitchBot Lock Pro. There is a lot to like about a retrofit smart lock, but there are always downfalls. Any piece of technology has some shortcoming. The SwitchBot Lock Pro is not immune to this. To get the most out of it, you will need the SwitchBot Hub and Keypad Touch Plus, which are extra accessories. It is rather large and bulky, and you can snag yourself on it if you have a narrow hallway like I have. In fact, my wife knocked off the battery plate and thought she broke it. Thankfully, it's magnetized and goes on very easily. Last, and one of the most important things to consider, if you have a door that you actually have too much weather stripping or the door swells and you have to lean in and press on your door in order to lock it, then a smart lock period would not work for you. And that would include the SwitchBot Lock Pro. However, if you're looking for a smart lock that can be retrofitted to your home and is stealthy, supports automations and routines with Matter support, then this SwitchBot Lock Pro might be what you're looking for. Just the ability to lock and unlock my door without keys and know who has entered my home makes this a strong recommendation. If this smart lock sounds like what you've been looking for, make sure to check SwitchBot's website so that you know if your door lock is compatible with the SwitchBot Lock Pro. If it does, I will have a link where you can pick one up for yourself in the description area below. If you appreciate the time and effort that goes into making comprehensive videos like this, make sure to hit that like button to help other people find the video as well. If you like what I'm doing here and want to be notified of my next review, hit that subscribe button. Not sure if SwitchBot is the right manufacturer for you? On screen now, you will see 2 other SwitchBot products that I have reviewed in the past to help you make a more informed decision for yourself.